was the question your sister asked you in 1988?
Oh, how to get prisoners safely from Hawaii to the mainland. And her concern was that if they continued to put them on airliners, the airlines didn't like having them shackled. And therefore, she wanted to know if there was some safe way of getting them from A to B across the sea. And that's when I told her how to drone aircraft. And my explanation to her was shared, I believe, and we believe, by my sister and Hillary Clinton and some others who got the BEI patent, and they put together the Strangler suite of illegal aircraft modifications. And I'm honestly somewhat shocked that still to this day, let's see, I did that in on December 10th of 2006. We're coming up on 6 years later, and this has not found its way into the mainstream media. But when the people that fly on airliners realize they're flying on drones, and that the pilots, and this comes back to why the pilots' wages were cut, is pilots are no longer necessary because every airliner out there that's an Embraer, a Bombardier, an Airbus, or a Boeing with a glass cockpit can be flown remotely. I think I answered your question, David, didn't I?
Yeah, that's right, Field. So you told her how to drone an aircraft in good faith, presumably in your mind and in her mind. Perhaps at that stage, the idea would be really how to deal with a mutiny by prisoners on a plane. But of course, once modified, depending on who's in control of the passwords that give ground traffic, or maybe an on-scene commander, if I think I've got that right term, the opportunity to take the plane off its regular en route airway and fly it for the purposes of the forces of evil. So what we should be looking at in any of these aircraft accidents, or so-called accidents, is there evidence that there was a guiding force behind the accident that resulted in the deaths of people who could then be used to intimidate their friends back at home base and maybe extort concessions. So you know that we've looked at that photograph or the images from the video in the parkade at the Pentagon, which is dated the 12th of September 2001. What that indicates is there was a composite made of the world's first live broadcast mass snuff film in human history, and these Dumbos spliced in pictures of what actually went across the Pentagon lawn on the September the 11th of 2001, and they photoshopped it into images of a scene that was dated the 12th of September 2001. So they are actually manipulating the timeline of the closed-circuit television cameras, etc., to produce to the public at large, so the public gets confused about the timeline of the perpetrators and the timeline of the victims. Now, on that plane, Flight AA-77, was your classmate, if I understand correctly, at the U.S. Naval Academy, Captain Chick Burlingham. So if we want to really get down and dirty with these vermin, I think when you bring an injunction, or if you bring an injunction, then you can say, well, in the case of your classmate, Captain Chick Burlingham, he died wrongfully as a result of the powers that be being extorted and entrapped into making concessions and failing to do a proper crime scene investigation. So I think we're going to do it for them. Over to you, Phil.